Does size matter? When it comes to working dogs, some say the bigger the better. For others, it's not about the size of the dog in the fight. Yet still, this question never seems to go away. What is the ideal size of a working dog? And does size matter? In the past few decades, I've been working with dogs in canine protection sports, in the security canine industry, and with family guardians. So, from my extensive experience, I've got a full understanding of how their size have an impact on their ability to do the job. And if you want to get a good understanding whether or not size matters, follow me on this short journey and I will give you my experience. Now, different roles demand different traits and structure and size in working dogs. For instance, if you want a top quality sport protection dog, you want a dog that's got speed, agility, and stamina. You don't necessarily need a big, strong, powerful dog that's gonna stop a man. Whereas for a property guardian, you need a dog with the size, presence, and power to be a man stopper. They don't necessarily need all that prey drive of your sport dog. They need to be a physical and visual deterrent. I was working as a security dog handler at a yardie dance where crowds of people don't tend to turn up until about midnight. We can get asked to cover the jobs by promoters or the man security teams. They can ask us to work around the specifics, around the locations, what our duty is going to be, and our role. However, we as dog handlers got to be able to risk assess, make sure things are safe, because they expect that you're going to allow your dog to bite or maul people that are just being difficult. That's not how it works. So you got to be clear with them on what you're going to be able to do and how you're going to support them. And even if you're going to use a dog, you've got to be clear on what is reasonable force. This particular job we were doing, the event promoter did not want us to allow anyone to come in the rave after 1 a.m. So we was under strict orders. But we're just a presence and we put our dogs away. Generally, though, we try to avoid all that conflict with people. On this particular night, there was an event going on. The doors were being shut because it was after 1 a.m. now. With the dog team, there was two of us. There was a guy who had a Belgian Malinois, and he was working near the entrance, and I was around the exit. Now, these guys turn up after 1 a.m. and they expect to go into the rave now. They're from the area, so they think if the rave's going on in their town, they can go in. They don't need to pay, they can just go in. So they try to be abusive and threatening towards the doormen, and you could see it was going to get tense. You know that certain crowds turn up, they think they run the show. So the doormen have to call over the other dog man to give them a hand because these guys are getting aggressive on the door. The guy with the dog, with his Belgian Manual, goes over, his dog is barking, showing aggression and everything, but these guys don't even show him no respect. They're not even frightened of the dog. In fact, they start threatening to shoot him and his dog, and they're still trying to access the entrance. So obviously, I'm on the radio, I can kind of hear there's problems, so I've got to quickly go over there with my dog. My dog's an American Bulldog, a dog called Bailiff. He's a muscled up dog, got good size, power, and we're experienced. We've done numerous jobs before, and at times we've had to go in, and sometimes bites do happen. I grab him because he's a strong dog. I grab him nearer to his collar, and I walk over there. So he's railing up. I've got him. I've given him some lead as I got near the entrance, and he's run forward. I told him to back off. They just moved back instantly. The doormen now are able to shut the entrance. Bailiff moved those guys with doors shut. The job's done. No issues. And I didn't even have to make the dog bite. Other times, in the summer, we often do festivals. We are on building sites. It can be boring. You're doing 12-hour shifts. It's quiet. And then something might kick off in the middle of the night, but you still got to do your patrols, whether or not something's going on or not. Now, sometimes there is some variation in the type of work you can do as a dog handler. Promoters that they don't really want dogs to be aggressive or intimidating. We're just there to do patrols, be a presence, and sometimes we put our dogs away in the van. And there might be a number of us, depending on the size of the festival. I remember one such event a few years back. It was a lovely hot day, vintage cars, and quite a few of us working various different handlers. A guy with a Doberman, German Shepherd, myself, American Bulldog, a guy with a Malinois, and a guy with a big intimidating Mastiff breed, yeah? We looked the part. We was working, doing our jobs. So what we do, we circle the perimeter, one at a time, different places. Yeah, then you go, like I said, you put your dog away, let it cool down. Anyway, after a few hours just in the work, it was obviously we started at a certain time and it was coming up to the afternoon. Now, this guy with a Mastiff dog, he stopped doing patrols. And we're like, what's going on? What's happening? He couldn't get his dog back out because his dog started suffering from the heat. And he was worried that it was going to overheat. So he thought his job was done for the day. So can you imagine a big, powerful dog that looks the part, but actually couldn't even complete the job, and an incident didn't even start yet? That's useless. Can you imagine you being out in a park with your own family and it's a hot sunny day, and then a group of guys turn up and start causing trouble? What are you going to do if you've got a protection trained dog that's overheating and can't protect your family? Would you tolerate that? On the other hand, you could have a smaller herder type in that hot weather that would be able to handle the heat, but would these guys even show your dog respect? Would they even be fearful of that dog if it's too small and they think they can hurt it? We know that the smaller herder types do lack the size, presence, and power. A big intimidating man can grab that dog easily and hurt it. And even with your big, massive type dogs, if they are not able to do the job because they're gassed, if they're tired or overheating, they're not even gonna protect you. Now, I don't condone violence on anyone, but let's keep it real. This world isn't always a safe place. I've seen people that look innocent and genuine turn in seconds. I've seen crowds change with group mentality. I've seen people on drugs do things that is unbelievable. So trust me when I say, when you need a dog that is capable of doing the job, to have the size, presence, and power to be a man stopper, to push back crowds, be athletic and resistant enough to keep working without tiring so quickly or overheating too easily. Therefore, choosing the right dog often depends on the job at hand. Will your smaller breeds do a job in your property when you're not at home and able to convincingly stop a man? And do these larger breeds, are they suitable enough for city life? Are you going to drive around with them in your vehicle? Will they be able to go on a public transport, go on a bus or a train? Are they going to be mobile enough to go on hikes with you? These are the type of questions you need to ask yourself when you think about type of working dog which will be suitable. Some might say, just get a gun. Well, a gun is not always suitable for every country. And if you're not at home, who's going to shoot the trigger? So what if I told you the ideal dog does exist? Sounds like a unicorn. But bear with me. For me, to get the perfect balance of speed, power, and stamina, dogs that feature around 24 to 26 inches and around 85 to 110 pounds generally fit the overall balance for a working dog. Obviously, there are always exceptions to the rule, with all things being relative when you consider temperament, working lines, and bloodlines. The types of dogs I would choose are the German Shepherd, the Rottweiler, American Bulldog, the Presa Canario. Now you've heard my picks. What are your thoughts? I would like to hear your comments. But before you go out and buy a dog just on the basis of its breed and reputation, watch this video first, where I break down the 5 rules to pick the ultimate protection dog.